I remember the night clearly. Myra's eyes were cold, almost calculating, and I felt like I was seeing her for the first time. I can't do this anymore, she said, and my stomach twisted. Wait, what? Mira, what do you mean? I asked, voice trembling. I reached for her hand, but she pulled it back like I was a stranger. She looked away. You know exactly what I mean. I can't keep pretending we're not on the same path. I need someone who can give me more. More? I asked, feeling my chest tighten. I've been working so hard. What more do you want from me? You can't give me the life I deserve, she said bluntly. I can't. I can't be with someone who's struggling every single day. I need security, Faraz. I need security? I interrupted, anger bleeding into my voice. Mira, I don't care about money. I care about us. I care about you. Do you even hear yourself? Her lips pressed into a thin line. I do. I hear myself perfectly. I hear what I feel. And the truth is, you're too poor. You always will be. The words hit me like a punch to the gut. I wanted to scream, to pull her back, to make her see that I could be enough. But I couldn't. My voice caught in my throat. I don't understand, I whispered. We promised each other, we promised we'd stick together, no matter what. She shook her head slowly. Promises don't pay bills, Faraz. They don't get you a car, a nice apartment, a future worth living. You'll always be you. And I can't wait around forever. I felt my knees weaken. You're leaving me? Yes, she said simply. I'm sorry. I found someone else. Someone who can give me what I want. Someone else? I repeated, my voice breaking. Just like that? Just done? She avoided my gaze. It's not like I wanted this to hurt you. But I can't lie to myself. I can't wait for you to figure things out. I need someone who already has it. I swallowed hard, trying not to scream. And what about us? Our memories? Our plans? She sighed, a quiet, almost painful sound. They're just memories now, Faraz. I wish things were different. I really do. I could feel tears burning behind my eyes. Different? Mira, we can make things different. We can figure this out together. I love you. She shook her head again. I love the idea of you. Not this. I can't live in almost. I need enough. And you're not enough. The words slashed through me, sharper than anything I'd ever felt. My hands shook. You're really leaving me? Over money? She hesitated for the first time. Her eyes softened a little, but she didn't move closer. It's not just money, Faraz. It's everything. I can't keep waiting for you to be someone you're not. I laughed bitterly, a sound I didn't recognize. Someone I'm not? Mira, I'm me. I've always been me. You knew that when we met. I know, she said quietly. But knowing and accepting are different. I can't accept this forever. I fell silent, my mind spinning. I couldn't breathe. My world felt like it had tilted on its axis. So, that's it? I asked finally. My voice was hoarse. You're just walking away? Yes, she said, almost whispering. I'm sorry. I didn't know what to say. My hands were clenched into fists. I wanted to beg, to scream, to hit something, anything. But the words wouldn't come. My heart was pounding, and every instinct told me this wasn't real. Please. Mira, don't do this. Please, I said finally, desperation creeping into my voice. We can fix it. We can. No, Faraz, she interrupted gently, almost kindly. We can't. You and I, we're done. I have to go. She turned to leave. I grabbed her hand one last time. Mira, please. Don't leave me. I'll do anything. I'll get better. She looked at me then, really looked at me, and there was no warmth in her eyes. Only a quiet finality that crushed me. Goodbye, Faraz, she said, and stepped out the door. The click of the lock echoed in my ears like a death sentence. I sank to the floor, leaning against the wall. My lungs burned. I felt numb, but my mind raced. I couldn't think. I couldn't move. I could only hear the sound of her heels fading away. Why? I whispered to myself. Why me? Why now? I wanted to run after her, scream after her, but I didn't. My body refused to obey. I was frozen. The apartment, our tiny world, felt impossibly small. Everything we had shared seemed to mock me from the corners of the room. I loved you, I muttered. My voice cracked. I loved you more than anything. And you just walked away? I curled up on the floor, hugging my knees. The room was silent except for the distant hum of traffic outside. I could still smell her perfume lingering in the air, a cruel reminder. My chest tightened with grief, with disbelief, with anger. I wanted to hate her. I wanted to scream at her, to tell her she was cruel, that she had no right to leave me like this. But I couldn't. I just sat there, broken, feeling every word she had said carve itself into my heart. I'll show you, I whispered finally, through clenched teeth. I'll show you what you lost. You'll see, you'll regret this. But even as I said it, a part of me wanted her back. A part of me wanted to crawl after her and beg her to stay. That part of me screamed, but I shoved it down. I couldn't think about her now. Not really. I had to survive this. Somehow. The room felt colder than ever. I could hear the faint ticking of the old clock on the wall, each second mocking me. I stood slowly, feeling weak and hollow. I didn't know what I would do next. I didn't know how to fix this. I didn't know if I could. I wandered to the window and stared out at the street below. People were walking, laughing, living. And I had lost everything. Everything that mattered. Too poor, I muttered, tasting the words. They burned on my tongue. Too soft. Not enough. Is that all I am to her? I clenched my fists, shaking. I'll prove you wrong, Mira. Just wait. Just wait. And as I stood there, staring at the city lights, I made a promise to myself. I didn't know how or when, but I would rise. I would make her regret leaving me. I would make the world see that I was more than what she had called me. For now, though, all I could do was sit on the edge of my bed, staring at the floor, and let the tears fall. I had lost her. But I hadn't lost myself yet. Not completely. And somewhere deep inside, a fire began to burn, a quiet, furious fire that promised one day everything would change. I woke up the next morning feeling hollow. The apartment was quiet, almost too quiet. I rubbed my eyes and stared at the ceiling, wondering how everything could feel so wrong when the sun was shining. My phone buzzed, and I grabbed it instinctively, hoping it was her, hoping for a miracle. It wasn't. A text from Mr. Han, my boss, scrolled across the screen. "Don't be late. Big orders today." I groaned, tossed the phone aside, and pulled on my jacket. I didn't care about the orders. I didn't care about anything. The streets were crowded, but I barely noticed. People brushed past me, their voices blending into a dull hum, and all I could hear was the echo of her words, "You're too poor. You'll never be enough." I stumbled into the shop and found Mr. Han waiting with his usual frown. "You're late, Faraz," he said. His voice was calm, but there was a weight behind it, like disappointment that cut deeper than anger. I'm sorry," I muttered, dragging my feet. "Sorry doesn't fix mistakes." "Start with the first repair on the list," he said, pointing at the counter. "And don't mess it up." "Not today." I nodded, trying to focus, but my hands shook as I picked up the tools. The device in front of me seemed impossible to fix. Every screw felt heavier, every wire tangled. I cursed under my breath. "Hey," Mr. Han's voice cut through my thoughts. "Focus. You can do this. I've seen you handle harder jobs." I forced a laugh. "Yeah, sure. Harder than Heartbreak?" He didn't answer, just shook his head and walked away. His silence felt heavier than any lecture. By noon, I had made a mistake I couldn't ignore. The device sparked and smoked, and I froze. My stomach twisted. "No, no, no, no," I muttered, trying to fix it, but I only made it worse. "Faraz." Mr. Han's voice thundered. I flinched. "What did you do?" I don't know." I shouted back. "It just what? Just broke it? You're distracted. I can see it on your face." I wanted to scream, but the words caught in my throat. I looked down at my hands, ashamed, useless. I'm sorry. You just what?" he barked, leaning closer. "You just let her words ruin your day? Your life? Your job?" Maybe, I admitted, my voice barely audible. He sighed and stepped back. "Listen, I don't care about your love life, Faraz. But if you can't control your focus, you're going to lose more than a device today. You'll lose this job." I nodded, feeling like the room had tilted again. I wanted to argue, to say she was the reason, but his words hit too hard to respond. During lunch, I sat outside the shop, barely eating. My mind replayed everything: the night she left, the way she smiled when she mentioned Armin, the way she said I'd never be enough. I closed my eyes and let the tears fall. "Hey," someone said softly. I looked up to see Ravi, a coworker I barely knew. "You okay, man?" I shook my head. "No. Not really." He shrugged and sat beside me. "I've seen you work hard, man. You're good at what you do. Don't let her ruin that." I laughed bitterly. "You don't get it." She laughed at me, Ravi. Laughed. Said I'd never be enough. And now she's with someone else, someone rich. She's happy. Ravi frowned. "So? You're better than you think. You'll get past her." I shook my head again. "Better? Maybe. But not yet. Right now. I'm nothing. Just nothing. After lunch, I went to the alley behind the shop, trying to breathe. The city felt too loud, too bright. I leaned against the brick wall and let the wind hit my face. I could hear laughter from a nearby cafe, and it made my chest ache. Then I saw her, through the window across the street. Mira. Laughing with Armin. Her hand on his arm. She looked happy. Perfect. And I felt rage flare in my chest. I clenched my fists. Happy, huh? Go on. Enjoy it. See if it lasts. See if anyone stays with you when it all falls apart. A man passing by gave me a strange look, but I ignored him. I couldn't stop staring. Every laugh, every smile, felt like a knife in my chest. When I got back to the shop, Mr. Hahn was waiting. You okay? He asked, squinting. Yeah, I said automatically. But inside, I was burning. I couldn't concentrate. I kept imagining what I would say to her if she came here. If I could make her see what she had done. Listen, Mr. Hahn said, lowering his voice. I don't know what happened between you two, and I don't care. But you need to get your head in the game. You're wasting your potential, Faraz. And trust me, I've seen people like you fall and never get back up. Don't be that guy. His words stung, but they also sparked something, a small ember of defiance. I know, I said quietly. Good, he replied. Now fix that device before the customer explodes. And for God's sake, stop staring into space like a ghost. I nodded, gripping the tools tighter. I'll fix it. Hours passed. Sweat and frustration mixed as I tried to salvage the repair. Sparks flew, wires twisted, and I almost gave up, but then I remembered something Ravi said, you'll get past her. I muttered under my breath, I won't just get past her. One day, she'll see. By evening, the shop closed, and I walked home in silence. The city lights shimmered, but I didn't notice. My mind kept replaying Myra's laughter with Armin, her words about me being too poor, and the unbearable finality in her eyes. I sat on the stairs outside my building, watching people go by. Couples walked hand in hand, laughing. Parents guided children. And I was alone, hollow, broken. I can't let this go, I whispered, shaking my head. I can't just let her do this and be fine. I need to prove her wrong. Show her that I'm more than she ever thought. The thought brought a strange clarity. The fire inside me, faint at first, began to grow. Not just for revenge, but to become someone she couldn't ignore. Someone she couldn't laugh at. Someone strong. I clenched my fists, feeling every bit of pain and humiliation transform into determination. I'll get better. I'll rise. And you'll see, Mira. You'll see exactly what you lost. For the first time since that night, I smiled, bitter, small, but real. I didn't know how long it would take. I didn't know what I would have to do. But I knew one thing, I couldn't stay broken. I was dragging myself through another long, empty day when Mr. Hahn handed me a small repair request. This one's different, he said, tapping the envelope. The guy's a regular client, but be careful. He's particular. I shrugged and stuffed it into my bag. Particular, sure. I've fixed hundreds of devices. How particular can he be? You'll see, he muttered, walking away. I arrived at the old apartment building where the client lived. It smelled faintly of incense and dust. I knocked on the door, and an elderly man answered, eyes sharp and curious. "Are you Faraz?" he asked. "Yes, sir," I said, trying to keep my voice steady. My hands were shaking, but I forced myself to seem confident. "Come in," he said. "I hear you're good at what you do. We'll see if that's true." I stepped inside, and the apartment was cluttered but oddly warm. I set my bag down and pulled out the device, a malfunctioning security panel. "What's wrong with it?" I asked. He pointed at the panel. "It doesn't work. Keeps short-circuiting. I've called several people. None of them could fix it properly." I knelt down, examining the wires. "I'll give it a try," I said quietly. He studied me for a long moment. "I don't like excuses," he said. "I don't want someone who gives excuses. I want results." I understand, sir," I said. My throat was dry. As I worked, he leaned on his cane and watched. "Tell me, young man, why do you work so hard? Most people your age would give up after the first failure." I hesitated. I guess. I want to get better. To be someone more. Someone strong." He nodded slowly. "Strong. That's a word I like. Most people just settle for weak." I glanced at him, curious. You think I have potential?" He smiled faintly. "I think you might. But potential isn't enough. You need drive. Persistence. And honesty." I bit my lip, surprised. "Honesty?" "Yes," he said. "People lie to cover their mistakes. People lie to impress. But someone who's honest about their limits, that's rare." I looked down at my hands, feeling a strange mix of pride and fear. I'm honest. I try to be." He nodded again, tapping the panel. "Let's see if your honesty can fix this." Hours passed. I worked carefully, rewiring, testing, adjusting. He watched silently the entire time. Sweat ran down my forehead, but I didn't stop. I couldn't. I wanted to prove myself, not just to him, but to myself. Finally, the panel clicked, lights blinking steadily. I took a step back, my hands trembling. It's fixed," I said. He leaned closer, examining it. Then his face broke into a small smile. "Well, I'll be. You did it." I let out a shaky laugh. I didn't mess it up?" He chuckled softly. "Not at all. In fact, you did better than I expected." I felt a warmth rise in my chest. "Thank you, sir. That means a lot." He studied me for a long moment. "Faraz, correct? I've been watching young men like you for years. You're different. You have skill, yes, but you also have heart." I blinked, unsure how to respond. "Heart. Yes," he said. "Most people quit after a setback. Most people let failure define them. You don't. I see it in the way you work. In your hands. In your eyes." I swallowed hard. I've had a lot of setbacks. Someone I loved left me. Said I wasn't enough. His eyes softened. "And you've let it drive you, yes?" I nodded. I don't want to be weak. I want to rise." He leaned on his cane, studying me closely. "Faraz, I own a company. A technology firm. We need young men like you, honest, skilled, determined. Someone who can grow, who can handle responsibility. If you're willing, I can train you. Properly. I blinked. Train me? You mean, like a job? He nodded. Not just a job. An opportunity. A chance to learn, to rise, to become more than you are. But it's not easy. Not everyone makes it. I felt my heart pound. I don't know what to say. Say yes, he said firmly. Or say no, and go back to your small life. The choice is yours. But think carefully, Faraz. Opportunities like this don't come twice. I swallowed hard. The room felt smaller, the air heavier. I want to try, I said finally. I'll do whatever it takes. He smiled faintly. Good. We start tomorrow. You'll live at the training dorm. Work long hours. Fail. Learn. Repeat. Only the determined survive. Do you understand? Yes, sir, I said, my voice trembling with a mix of fear and excitement. He nodded. I'll send someone to pick you up. Be ready. After he left, I sat in the apartment, staring at the panel I had fixed. My hands still shook. I felt like the ground had shifted beneath me. I had no idea what I had just agreed to, but it felt like the first step out of the shadow Mira had left me in. I kept repeating her words in my head, you're too poor. You'll never be enough. Not anymore. Not if I could help it. I went home that evening and packed a small bag, careful to leave space for more than just clothes. I packed determination. I packed anger. I packed the quiet hope that one day, she would see me and regret everything. When I arrived at the dorm the next morning, I was met by a stern-looking man who introduced himself as my mentor. I'll guide you, he said. But I won't hold your hand. You'll fail. You'll get tired. You'll want to quit. Don't. You do this, and you'll rise. I understand, I said, gripping my bag tighter. He nodded. Good. Follow me. The work starts now. If you want to prove yourself, this is the only way. The dorm was modest but clean. I shared a room with another trainee named Sarah. She looked at me curiously, a mixture of skepticism and kindness in her eyes. You're Faraz, right? She asked. Yes, I said cautiously. I've seen your work, she said. I think you'll do fine, if you don't give up. I smiled faintly. I won't. I have reasons to succeed. She raised an eyebrow. Oh. Heartbroken, huh? I laughed bitterly. You could say that. She nodded knowingly. Well, keep that fire. It'll get you through the long nights. Trust me. The dorm was alive with noise the first morning, the sound of tools clanging, voices shouting, and machines whirring. I dragged myself out of bed, my muscles sore from yesterday's long hours. Sarah was already at the workbench, adjusting a circuit board. Morning, Faraz, she said, not looking up. Ready for another day of torture? I laughed, though it sounded hollow. Torture? You're exaggerating. She raised an eyebrow. Exaggerating? You spent 3 hours yesterday trying to fix a simple panel. And let's not forget the smoke alarm incident. I groaned. I'll admit, that was dramatic. She finally looked at me, smiling faintly. It's okay. We all start somewhere. You'll get used to the fire, literally and figuratively. Before I could respond, a sharp voice cut through the room. Faraz. Sarah. Gather around. We turned to see Mr. Rafi standing with his arms crossed, eyes scanning the room like a hawk. My stomach twisted. You will fail, he said immediately, and my chest tightened. You will fail more times than you succeed. The question is, will you keep trying, or will you quit and be forgotten? I won't quit, I said, my voice firm despite the fear knotting in my stomach. Good, he said, nodding slowly. Because this is not for the weak. Every mistake you make, every failure, it will teach you something. If you understand that, you might survive. I swallowed hard. I understand, sir. Sarah nudged me lightly. See? You're already learning. I muttered, I hope so. The day was brutal. Hours of soldering, wiring, testing, and retesting. I felt like I was going in circles. Every time I thought I'd solved a problem, a new one appeared. My hands were raw, my head pounding. Faraz, what's taking so long? A trainee named Rayhan shouted across the room. He leaned back, arms crossed, smirking. You're slower than a snail. Maybe she dumped you for a reason. I froze, my stomach twisting. Rayhan, it's not about speed, I said, my voice tight. It's about precision. He laughed. Precision? You're going to burn this place down before you learn that. I clenched my fists but didn't respond. Sarah leaned over and whispered, Ignore him. Focus on yourself. I nodded, forcing my hands back to the wires. Every movement was shaky, every thought clouded by Rayhan's words. But I couldn't let him break me, not now. Not when this opportunity was everything. Hours later, I finally managed to stabilize the system. I stepped back, breathing hard, sweat dripping down my face. It's done, I muttered. Mr. Rafi approached, his expression unreadable. He tapped a finger against the panel. Not perfect. But an improvement. Progress. I exhaled shakily. Thank you, sir. He nodded. Progress is the first step toward mastery. But mastery comes with pain. And you will feel pain every day here. Remember that. I swallowed hard. I understand. Sarah smiled faintly. See? You survived the first day. Barely, but you did. I laughed weakly. Barely is better than nothing. Later that night, exhausted and covered in grime, I lay on my bunk, thinking about Mira. Her laughter, Armin's smug face, the way she had walked out on me. It all felt like fuel. She made a mistake, I whispered to myself. A huge mistake. Sarah appeared at my doorway, holding a small bottle of water. You okay? She asked softly. I sat up, taking the water. I will be. It's hard. Everything is hard. She nodded, sitting on the edge of my bed. It's supposed to be. That's the point. Pain teaches more than comfort ever could. You'll learn that eventually. I frowned. Pain teaches? She smiled faintly. Yeah. You can't grow without it. Every failure, every burned wire, every late night, it's shaping you. Trust me. I stared at her, considering her words. I hope. I can handle it. You will, she said firmly. I've seen your fire. Don't let it go out. The next few days were a blur of repetition, failure, and small victories. Rayhan continued to mock me, often loudly. Hey, slowpoke. Are you sure you're in the right program? I grit my teeth but ignored him. Sarah offered quiet support when she could. Keep going, Faraz. You're better than you think. One evening, after nearly 10 hours of training, I stumbled to my bunk, exhausted. I don't know if I can do this, I admitted quietly to myself. Sarah appeared again. Everyone feels that way, she said softly. But feeling tired doesn't mean you're weak. It means you're growing. Every time you think about quitting, remember why you started. I closed my eyes, letting her words sink in. Why I started, right? Because I need to rise. For me. For her. For everything I lost. She nodded. Exactly. Keep that fire alive. That night, I lay awake longer than usual, thinking about my failures, my mistakes, and my determination. I couldn't let anyone, not Rayhan, not Mira, not myself, stop me. I had to rise. The next morning, Mr. Rafi assigned us a complex project. I almost froze at first glance. This is impossible, I muttered. Impossible? Mr. Rafi asked, eyebrow raised. No. Difficult. Painful. But not impossible. Remember, Faraz, pain is the forge that creates strength. I clenched my fists. I'll do it. Hours passed again, sweat and frustration mingling into a haze. I cursed at myself, at the wires, at the machines. Why won't this work? I shouted, banging the table. Sarah appeared beside me quietly. Step back for a moment. Breathe. Focus on the solution, not the frustration. I took a deep breath, trying to calm my hands. You're right, okay. One step at a time. Slowly, methodically, I adjusted the circuits, rewired connections, and tested the system again. Sparks flew, and my heart raced. But finally, a soft chime echoed through the room. The device hummed steadily, lights blinking perfectly. I sank to the floor, exhausted but elated. I did it, I whispered. Mr. Rafi approached, a rare smile on his face. Well done, Faraz. You survived the pain and made progress. That's the first mark of a leader. I felt a spark of pride, almost blinding after weeks of doubt. Thank you, sir, I said quietly. Sarah appeared beside me, smiling. See? Told you. You're stronger than you think. I woke up that morning with a strange lightness in my chest. The nights were still long, the work still grueling, but I felt different. Stronger. More capable. Maybe it was confidence, or maybe it was just the faint taste of progress finally paying off. Sarah was already at the workbench, soldering wires with careful precision. Morning, Faraz, she said. You look awake. That's new. I smiled faintly. I'm ready for today. Let's see what pain you have in store for me. She laughed softly. Oh, it's always worse than you expect. But you're getting used to it. Before I could respond, Rayhan swaggered over, smirking. Well, the miracle worker is up. Did you sleep well, or were you too busy dreaming about failing? I gritted my teeth. Rayhan, you'll find I don't dream about failure anymore. I work through it. He laughed. Talk is cheap, Faraz. Let's see if your hands can back it up. Mr. Rafi appeared then, surveying the room. Faraz, he said, voice calm but commanding. You'll lead today's project. Full responsibility. Sarah and Rayhan will assist. Make this work, and I'll know you're ready for bigger challenges. My chest tightened. Lead me? Are you sure? Yes, he said firmly. I've seen your progress. Today is your chance to prove it. I nodded, swallowing hard. I won't let you down. The project was complex, integrating multiple systems, troubleshooting past failures, and implementing improvements. I felt my heart pound as I gave instructions. Sarah, start with the wiring on the left panel. Rayhan, monitor the diagnostics output. I'll handle the central module. Rayhan scoffed. Fine, Slowpoke. Try not to mess it up. I ignored him. My hands moved swiftly, carefully, directing the team. Sarah worked efficiently beside me, following my instructions. Even Rayhan, despite his smirk, began to obey. Hours passed in a blur of concentration and sweat. I barked orders, corrected mistakes, and refused to let frustration take control. Every failure was a lesson, every small success a victory. Faraz, Sarah said quietly, leaning over a panel. This wire is loose. If we don't secure it, the system will fail. I adjusted it, nodding. Good catch. Attention to detail will save this project. Rayhan muttered something under his breath, but I ignored him. Focus was all that mattered. By evening, the system was nearly complete. I checked each connection, ran diagnostics, and held my breath as the lights blinked steadily. It's stable, I whispered. My chest swelled with relief and pride. Mr. Rafi approached, arms crossed, eyes sharp. Well, Faraz, you led this team effectively. The system works. You've shown leadership, precision, and resilience. Congratulations. I blinked, speechless. Thank you, sir. He nodded. You're ready for real responsibility now. This is the first step. If you continue, you'll lead more projects, bigger teams, and eventually, entire divisions. I swallowed hard, excitement and disbelief battling inside me. I won't waste this opportunity. You'd better not, he said, his tone firm but approving. Opportunity is wasted on the weak. Sarah grinned. See, I told you. You're stronger than you think. I laughed, though it was shaky. I guess I am. Slowly, at least. Rayhan looked away, muttering something about luck. I didn't care. For the first time, I felt like my skill and determination had earned something real. Weeks passed, and my rise became more tangible. I was promoted to lead more projects, and my confidence grew. I could feel the weight of responsibility shaping me, forcing me to grow emotionally, mentally, and physically. One evening, Sarah approached me as I finished a particularly challenging system. You're different now, Faraz, she said softly. I can see it. You're confident. You know what you're capable of. I smiled faintly. I've had good teachers. And reasons to push myself. She raised an eyebrow. Reasons? I hesitated, then shrugged. Let's just say, some people underestimate you. And I want to prove them wrong. She nodded, understanding. I get it. Keep that fire. Don't let anyone, especially yourself, dampen it. By the end of the month, I was assigned to oversee a major innovation project for Mr. Rafi's company. It was a turning point, one that required leadership, precision, and strategy. I had doubts, of course, but the fire inside me burned stronger than ever. Faraz, Mr. Rafi said one morning, reviewing the project outline with me, this will be your biggest challenge yet. Success here could change everything. I met his gaze. I'm ready. I'll do my best. He nodded. Good. Surround yourself with capable people, trust your judgment, and don't hesitate to take the lead. Mistakes are part of growth, but hesitation will kill you. I felt my heart pound. Understood, sir. The project was grueling. Days turned into nights, and nights into weeks. I made mistakes, corrected them, and pushed the team harder each day. Sarah was a constant support, offering advice and encouragement, while Rayhan gradually learned to respect my guidance. One night, after a particularly long session, I sat back on my chair, exhausted. I can't believe how far we've come, I muttered. Sarah smiled faintly. I told you. You just needed to believe in yourself. I shook my head. Belief, that wasn't enough. I had to fight for it. Every day. She nodded. Exactly. And that fight is what makes you stronger. Remember this feeling. It'll carry you through harder challenges. Weeks later, our project went live. The system performed flawlessly, exceeding expectations. Investors were impressed, and Mr. Rafi personally congratulated me. Faraz, your leadership and dedication are remarkable. You've grown faster than I expected. This is just the beginning. It was a quiet evening when it happened. I had just finished reviewing a project report in my office, the city lights reflecting on the window. The hum of traffic below was soothing, almost meditative. I thought I was alone. Then the elevator chimed. I looked up, and there she was. Mira. Standing in the doorway like she had never left. My heart stopped. My chest tightened. My hands froze on the papers in front of me. Faraz, she said softly, almost hesitantly. I blinked, trying to comprehend. Mira, what are you doing here? My voice was tighter than I expected. She stepped inside slowly, glancing around my office. I heard about you. About your success. I wanted to see for myself. I felt a surge of anger, mixed with disbelief. See for yourself? After walking out on me, after leaving me because you thought I wasn't enough? Her eyes flickered with guilt. I made a mistake. I know that now. I wanted to apologize. I laughed bitterly, shaking my head. Apologize? You think an apology fixes everything? You think it erases the years I spent hurting? She flinched slightly but didn't step back. I know it doesn't. I had to try. I couldn't live with myself knowing I left without saying anything. I clenched my fists, standing abruptly. And what now? You think you can just waltz back into my life and everything will be okay? She shook her head slowly. No. I wanted to see if you're happy. If you've moved on. I took a step closer, my voice trembling. Moved on? Mira, you broke me. You humiliated me. You left me thinking I wasn't worth anything. And now you show up, years later, hoping what? That I forgive you? I don't expect forgiveness, she said softly. I needed to see you. To know that you're okay. I laughed, a harsh, bitter sound. Okay? Mira, I'm more than okay. I've built a life, a career, a future you never thought I could. And guess what? I did it without you. Her eyes widened slightly, and for the first time, I saw a flicker of something, regret, maybe even fear. You did all this, without me? I nodded, feeling the fire inside me flare. Yes. I rose. I worked, I struggled, I failed, and I succeeded. And now, I'm standing here, and you're the one who lost everything. She swallowed hard, looking down. I didn't realize. I never thought. I cut her off sharply. You didn't think? Mira, you thought I'd always be too poor, too weak, too nothing. And now? Look at me. I'm everything you said I'd never be. She looked up, her eyes glossy. Faraz. I made a huge mistake. I know that now. I can't take back what I did, but I'm sorry. Truly. I laughed again, shaking my head. Sorry doesn't undo the years of pain. Sorry doesn't erase your words. Too poor. Do you remember those words, Mira? She flinched, her lips pressing together. Yes. I remember. And I regret saying them. Every day. I stepped closer, my voice low but intense. Do you know what I felt hearing that? Rejected, humiliated, worthless. And you left me like that. Without a second thought. She nodded slowly. I know. I know I hurt you. And I've regretted it every moment since. I felt my heart pound, a storm of emotions raging inside me. Anger, pride, pain, satisfaction, all colliding. And now, what? You want me to forgive you? To take you back? No, she whispered. I wanted you to know. I wanted you to see that I was wrong. I shook my head, stepping back. Wrong? Mira, that's not enough. Not now. Not ever. You lost your chance. Her eyes filled with tears. I see that now. I never realized until I saw you. You're incredible. You've become everything I thought I could never imagine. I felt a surge of pride, but also a cold edge of satisfaction. Yes. I did it. Without you. I rose, I struggled, I conquered. And you're standing here, realizing too late what you threw away. She took a small step closer, voice trembling. Faraz, please. Can we talk? I need closure. I need to say goodbye properly. I studied her, my chest tight. Closure? Mira. I don't need closure. I've moved forward. I've grown. You're the one who needs it. You're the one who needs to understand what you lost. Tears streamed down her cheeks. I know. I was foolish. I can't believe I let you go. You're everything I wanted, everything I dreamed of. I laughed softly, shaking my head. Dreamed of? Mira. I'm standing here because I turned dreams into reality. I worked for it. I earned it. And you waited too long. You weren't there when it mattered. You walked away. She sniffled, wiping her tears. I thought I knew what I wanted. I thought someone else could give me what I needed. But I see now, it was always you. I felt a flicker of something, anger, satisfaction, and yes, a little lingering pain. It's too late for that now, Mira. You had your chance. You made your choice. And I made mine. I rose. I won. She trembled, voice breaking. I'm so sorry, Faraz. I didn't know. I thought I'd find happiness, but I realize now that I lost the only thing that truly mattered. I took a deep breath, my pulse racing. And that's the truth. You lost me. Not because I let you go. Not because I was weak. But because I chose to rise. I chose to become someone more than what you said I'd ever be. She nodded, tears streaming down her face. I understand. I really do. And I regret everything. I smiled faintly, cold but victorious. Good. That's enough. Now, go. Leave. Because this chapter of my life doesn't have room for you anymore. She stepped back slowly, her eyes never leaving mine. I will. I hope. I hope you're happy. I nodded. I am. Happier than you could ever imagine. It was weeks after Myra's visit, and life had finally settled into a rhythm I enjoyed. The office buzzed with activity, my team respected me, and my projects were thriving. Yet, a small, quiet thrill had begun to build inside me, the anticipation of watching karma do its work. One morning, Sarah burst into my office, excitement written across her face. Faraz. You won't believe what I just heard. I leaned back in my chair, curious. Try me. She dropped onto the chair opposite me, practically vibrating. Mira and Armin, they're in trouble. Serious trouble. I raised an eyebrow. Trouble? What kind of trouble? Sarah grinned. Armin's business failed. Investors pulled out. Rumor has it, he made some terrible decisions, reckless, greedy, and now he's losing everything. And Mira, well, she's stuck dealing with it all. Alone. I leaned forward, heart pounding. Alone? Yes. Apparently, she realized too late that Armin was nothing but a facade. A rich exterior with no substance. And now? She's paying the price for leaving you. I laughed softly, a low, satisfied sound. So she's finally feeling what it's like to lose someone who mattered, to lose me. Sarah nodded. Exactly. I thought you'd like to know. I closed my eyes, letting the memory of her walking out on me flood back, the laughter, the cruelty, the arrogance. And now, years later, watching her stumble, it was poetic. Sweet, satisfying poetry. I can't wait to see her face when she realizes I've surpassed everything she thought she could control, I muttered. Sarah laughed softly. Just, don't be cruel. Let her learn her lesson naturally. That's the point of karma. I nodded, a slow smile spreading across my face. I won't interfere. I'll let life do what it's meant to do. But watching will be delicious. A few days later, I heard through mutual friends that Mira had been trying to reach out to me. Phone calls, messages, even visits. She wanted to talk, to explain, to beg. I stared at my phone, feeling the familiar rush of power. I didn't respond. I couldn't. The time for forgiveness wasn't here. The time for lessons was. One evening, a mutual friend ran into me at a cafe and whispered, Faraz, she's outside your building. Crying. She thought she never imagined. I felt my chest tighten, not with guilt, but with the pure, intoxicating taste of justice. I nodded politely, walking past without a word. I didn't need to witness it firsthand. The universe was doing its job. The next day at work, Sarah nudged me. Word is, Myra's finally admitting to everyone that she made a huge mistake. Armin's out of the picture, and she's embarrassed. Pretty publicly. I chuckled softly. Good. Let her sit in that embarrassment. Let her taste what she thought she deserved to take from me. Rayhan, who had once mocked me, leaned over. You're calm about all this? I thought you'd be jumping for revenge. I shook my head. Revenge isn't mine to take. Life handed it to her. I built myself, and now, she's reaping the consequences of her choices. That's enough. Sarah smiled, shaking her head. You've changed, Faraz. You're stronger, wiser, and better than anyone could have imagined. I leaned back in my chair, watching the office bustle. Better, yes. But I won't stop here. This is just the beginning. She's just one chapter. Weeks later, I saw her in person again, this time outside a charity event. She was alone, looking lost, her usual confidence replaced by regret and vulnerability. She spotted me across the street and froze. I caught her gaze, holding it for a moment. No words passed between us. I didn't need them. She mouthed something I couldn't hear, tears glistening in her eyes. I'm sorry. I simply nodded once, a small, controlled gesture. No forgiveness. No welcome back. Just acknowledgement. As she turned to walk away, I whispered to myself, quietly, satisfied, this is what you get for underestimating me, Mira. This is what it feels like to lose someone who became unstoppable. That evening, Sarah and I celebrated quietly in the office. You're glowing, she said, handing me a cup of coffee. I am, I admitted. Watching her finally realize she made a mistake, it's satisfying. But not just that. I'm satisfied because I didn't stop. I didn't give up. I didn't let bitterness consume me. Sarah smiled knowingly. Exactly. You took control. You didn't need revenge to feel victorious. That's true strength. I nodded slowly. Strength. That's what this was always about. Not her, not Armin, not the past. It was about me, becoming someone who couldn't be broken again. A few days later, I ran into Myra's brother at a networking event. He hesitated, then said quietly, Faraz. Mira regrets everything. She's talking to people, trying to fix her reputation. She keeps mentioning you. Saying she lost someone incredible. I raised an eyebrow. And? He swallowed, clearly nervous. And she's asking if she can see you. She wants a second chance. To apologize properly. She thinks she could, maybe, make things right. I smiled faintly, shaking my head. She can't. Not anymore. Not because I don't forgive her, but because I've moved beyond that. I've built a life, a future, a self that doesn't need her validation. He nodded, understanding. I see. That must feel satisfying. I leaned back, my chest swelling with quiet pride. It does. Watching karma work, it's more satisfying than any revenge I could take. Life has its way of balancing the scales, and I've survived it all. Sarah caught up with me afterward. You're glowing, Faraz. You've truly risen above everything. She can cry all she wants, but you've won. I nodded slowly, taking a sip of my coffee. I've won. Not because I humiliated her back, not because I showed off my success, but because I became someone no one could hold down. Someone who faced pain and used it to rise. Sarah smiled, a quiet warmth in her eyes. And you've earned it. Every bit of it. The morning air was crisp as I walked into the office, my mind alive with plans for the new overseas project. It was the culmination of everything I had worked for, countless long nights, sweat, failure, and persistence. Every challenge I had faced had led me here. Sarah was already at her desk, looking over the project files. "Morning, Faraz," she said, a faint smile on her face. "Big day ahead." I nodded, running my hand through my hair. Yes, it feels surreal. All those years of struggle, and now, this. It's finally real. She glanced at me knowingly. "You've earned it. You didn't just survive, you thrived. And now, the world's your stage." I smiled faintly. It's funny. I never imagined I'd be here. The thought of it once seemed impossible. Sarah chuckled. Impossible only lasts until someone works hard enough to prove otherwise. That's you, Faraz. The office buzzed with activity. Team members prepared presentations, double-checked reports, and coordinated travel plans. I felt a quiet pride watching everyone move efficiently under my guidance. This leadership, this respect, was my victory. Just then, the office door opened. My assistant, a young woman named Layla, stepped in nervously. "Sir, you have a visitor. Someone you might want to see before your flight." My stomach tightened. "Visitor? Who?" Layla hesitated. "It's Mira." I froze. Mira. Again. My chest tightened, but this time, it wasn't anger. It was calm, measured. I had grown too much to be rattled. I nodded slowly. "Send her in." The door opened, and she stepped inside. Her posture was hesitant, her usual confidence replaced by uncertainty. She looked at me, eyes wide, and for the first time, I saw fear mixed with regret. "Faraz." She began, voice trembling. I held up a hand. "Stop. Save your words. I've moved beyond needing apologies. I've built a life, a career, a future. And you're not part of it." Tears glistened in her eyes. "I know. I needed to see you one last time. To know you're happy. To know you're more than I could ever imagine." I studied her silently, feeling the full weight of our history. Betrayal, heartbreak, humiliation, all of it. And now, it didn't hurt. It had shaped me, molded me into someone stronger, someone unstoppable. "I am happy," I said finally, my voice calm. "Happy, fulfilled, and free. And you've learned your lesson. That's enough for me." She blinked, swallowing hard. I wish I could go back, make things right. But I see now. I can't." I nodded slowly. "No. You can't. The past is gone. You made your choices. I made mine. And I rose." For a moment, silence filled the room. Then she whispered, almost inaudibly, You truly are everything I thought you could never be." I allowed myself a small, quiet smile. "Yes. I am. And I don't need validation from you or anyone else anymore. My life, my success, it stands on its own." She nodded, tears streaming down her cheeks. I understand." And I wish you the best, Faraz. Truly. I inclined my head. Thank you. That's all I need. She turned to leave, glancing back one last time. Goodbye, Faraz. Goodbye, Mira, I said calmly. As the door closed, I exhaled slowly. The final chapter with her was complete. No anger, no lingering pain, only closure, satisfaction, and triumph. Sarah appeared beside me quietly. You handled that perfectly, she said softly. No revenge, no bitterness, just strength. I smiled faintly. Strength. That's what it's always been about. Not proving her wrong, but proving myself right. And I did. The next few days were a whirlwind of preparation for the overseas project. I traveled, led my team, and tackled challenges head-on. Each success reinforced my confidence, each solved problem reminded me how far I had come. During a break, I sat alone on a balcony overlooking the city. The lights stretched endlessly below me, and I felt a sense of peace I hadn't known in years. Sarah joined me, handing me a cup of coffee. You seem reflective, she said, settling beside me. I am, I admitted. I've come so far, from the person I was when Mira left me, when Armin laughed at me, when the world seemed against me. She smiled. And now? Now, I paused, watching the city lights flicker, now I'm unstoppable. I've faced my pain, endured it, and transformed it into strength. I've won, not by tearing anyone down, but by rising above everything that tried to break me. Sarah nodded, pride in her eyes. And you'll continue to rise. There's nothing holding you back. I took a deep breath, feeling the weight of the past lift from my shoulders. Nothing. Only possibilities. Only growth. Only freedom. Later that evening, the company held a small celebration for the project's success. Investors praised my leadership, my team cheered, and Mr. Rafi approached with a rare, approving smile. Faraz, he said, placing a hand on my shoulder, you've exceeded every expectation. Your determination, your leadership, it's remarkable. You've truly transformed yourself. I nodded humbly. Thank you, sir. I couldn't have done it without your guidance. He shook his head. You've earned this. Remember, true success isn't just measured by achievements, but by who you become along the way. And you have become extraordinary. I smiled, feeling a rush of pride. I'll remember that. Always. After the celebration, I stepped outside, breathing in the cool night air. Sarah joined me, and we walked quietly along the terrace. You're at the top now, she said softly. And you did it without losing yourself. I looked at her, smiling. That's the most important part. I rose, not to hurt anyone, not for revenge, but for myself. For my future. For the person I always wanted to become. She nodded, smiling. And you've done it. Truly. The city stretched before us, endless possibilities sparkling like stars. I felt alive. Free. Victorious. A message pinged on my phone. It was from an international partner, offering me another leadership opportunity, even bigger than the last. I stared at it, feeling a thrill I hadn't felt in years. This is just the beginning, I whispered. Sarah smiled knowingly. It is. And I'll be right here with you, every step of the way.